Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Demi-chan with Kataritai, or Interviews with Monster Girls episode 5. Now for this one, I don't want to say it was the funniest so far. It was certainly on par with last week's episode and episode 2, but it did have it had some great comedy, but it had something more going for it. It had really good character development, possibly my favorite character development so far in this show. But going through part by part, we have Yuki in the bath and she imagines freezing everything, and we find out through her story that we find out is her explaining things to Takahashi, that she tried to hide that she was a demi by keeping her distance from others, and that was all screwed up when she overheated in gym the day in the first episode, and she just told people, yo, stay back, I'm a Yuki Onna. So she says that before she came from a cold place, so she didn't really need to hide it. It was never really a big deal. But she got really depressed from having to move to the city, leaving all of her friends. And when she was thinking about it, she was in a hot bath and made ice in it. So she was afraid that that kind of power was pretty extreme and it was dangerous. Also, Takahashi asks about her being able to sweat, and she says she pretty much can't sweat, essentially. She has very few sweat glands. So he tells her to then return after class, and the demis decide to have lunch, and then they invite Yuki out to go to ice cream after school. So Takahashi then is trying to figure out how ice works in hot water, of course. So he gets hot water for an experiment, and we find out that her feet do get cold when she gets nervous, so of course we have some foot fetish shots. I don't get it, it's not my thing personally, but yeah, I could recognize, I was like, okay, those shots, there were probably some people that very much liked those. That was some fan service for them. Then we have those, and she's forced to read stories of Yuki Onna, and her foot sweat is what makes the ice, we find out, which was kind of predictable, of course, but just going through it. And leading to a funny moment where Takahashi wanted to analyze the ice, and she was like, no, that's my sweat. So yeah, pretty much her power isn't really as much cold air as it is her bodily fluids like tears and sweat freeze. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And the reason I just went through that kind of quickly was just because that part was it was good character development, but there wasn't really much that was very funny. The character development wasn't as strong and apparent as everything that happened after that. The first half of this episode, I was like, okay, it's kind of a meh episode. It's pretty good. It's not like good. It's not bad. It's just an okay episode. But then the second half just killed me. The second half was so good. So then they go out for ice cream, and I love Hikari's blood-sucking feels for Yuki. And then we get really good character development for Yuki, like coming to terms with how things are with herself and being friends with people and being around people. And of course, I've been meaning to say this too, I love the voice acting in this, but Hikari's voice is best voice, like from any anime girl. I love her voice so freaking much. So then I completely died. I was so done at Hikari chewing on Yuki. That was the cutest and funniest thing ever, especially like her excuses were like, Yuki's like, no, you're gonna suck my blood. She's like, no, my teeth itch. That was just really funny. I loved that. So then they go to lunch, and I had to actually go back, because before I could even catch up on the other chewing joke, I was still laughing at just seeing Machi's harness. Every time we see her head in the harness, whenever we see her at a meal, or whenever we see her doing homework or whatever, and her head's in the harness, I just lose it. It's just so funny and goofy looking, I lose it every time. But then Hikari usually chews on Himari whenever she feels the need to. Again, very cute. And then again, a very funny sequence overall where they're on the roof and they're referring to all the different things that they refer to each other as. And Takahashi calls her Takanashi-san, or Hikari-chan, or Hikari, and seeing her different reactions to it. And again, it was very funny. So what do you call Sato-sensei? And she's just like, Saki. So that, again, was something that killed me. And at the very end, we have a heartfelt, good character development character development moment that was also a funny moment as well, where Yuki's like, really, thank you for worrying about me to that guy from before, and if you want to go out with me sometime, we can. And then it was an invite to go out with a bunch of the girls. So again, funny moment, but a real strong character moment for Yuki. So yeah, this episode, I love the character growth and development. It was probably the best so far, though I liked Machi's development in episode 2 a lot. Episode 2 to this point is still possibly my favorite episode, but this is up there for sure. So yeah, and it was one of the funniest episodes. It's certainly up there with episode 2, up there with last episode. Last episode was very funny. Hikari chewing on people and her talking about the different names she calls people were both great. It brings up such an interesting cultural difference, really. Like, here, being from America and all, it is like, I can't remember when I've ever called somebody by their last name. It's pretty much you just call essentially everyone by their first name. It's just such a different feeling. I mean, of course, if somebody's like really important or something, you'll say Mr. or Mrs. whatever their last name is. But even then, once you get to know them, they're usually pretty cool and are just like, yo, just call me by my first name. So, yeah, it's just such an interesting cultural difference that you really don't take too much note of usually, but I like the way they added it into their jokes here. So yeah, super interesting. This episode, I think I'll give the same thing I gave last episode, because while I think it was very, very funny, I'm not sure it was quite as funny. Last episode was great when it came to comedy, but I think it had a little bit more in the way of character development for me, so I'll give it the same score, 8.5. This time it's going to be 8.5 foot fetishes out of 10. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and enjoyed my review of it. So if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it as well. Subscribe, I suppose, for more Demi-chan with Kataritai and a ton of other things. The Walking Dead is returning next weekend. The TV show, that is. On the 15th, we'll have another Walking Dead comics issue. We're going through a lot of manga right now, like Boku no Hero Academia and One Piece. We are also covering and going through the light novels for Magical Girl Raising Project. We're covering 4 other anime, being One Piece, Yojo Senki, Maid Dragon, and Little Witch Academia. So there's a lot going on right now. Of course, follow on Twitter and share the video if you want and all that. That's it, so thank you once again for watching. I hope you enjoyed so much, and I'll see you all next time.